Hello family, welcome to another jam-packed episode here on Food for Thought with Karabo and Conce.
Hello, hello.
Have you ever wondered if this current load shedding is actually causing a threat to the South African food security? Yes, no, maybe? Well, today we're going to unpack all of that and more by looking at the recent information from the Crop Estimates Committee, which is an organization that actually tells us how much we can expect to produce at the end of the season.
Yeah, Karabo, when you're talking and hinting at food security, that has such been a hot topic at the beginning of the year. Remember when we first started in the season, like the planting season from October last year, there was heavy rains in the main summer grain and oilseed growing areas. Producers as well as the agricultural stakeholders were a bit concerned about, okay, what will be the crop size for next year? Will it be okay? Will it not be okay? And then, it dried up, by February, we had like some really good weather, some sunshine. And yeah, when our producers plant, they really plant. So the concerns have eased now, and the Crop Estimates Committee has come up with their first estimate for the season. So it's the first one. There'll still be changes, but at the moment, it's looking rather favorable, guys.
Oh yeah, so even though some farmers had to replant because of the heavy rains, even though there were lags in terms of the guys being able to plant, we hear of about a month and some less in the other areas.
Yes.
You are telling me that everything is actually bullish.
Yes, it is. It's looking really favorable. So speaking about people who are delayed planting, replanting and all of that. Let me just share some stats, right?
Okay.
So the total summer grain and oilseed crop for this season, so planted 2023, harvesting 2023, there is an expectation or an estimate that it will be up 3% year on year. So the total summer grain season crop production rather, is estimated at about 19.3 million tons, which is very, very good. And we're thinking maize, we're thinking soybeans, we're thinking sunflowers. Those are the main ones. And then there's sorghum, there's dry beans, there's also groundnuts, aka your peanuts, and those make up the entire summer grain oilseed crops that we look at.
This is such a good news to hear, Conce, especially considering that there were a lot of challenges in the market. We're talking high input costs that farmers were faced with. And, our farmers are very resilient. I always say that, they were like, prices are good. Don't tell me about high input prices. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to plant. But what we also saw, you did say soybeans is up. Is actually the fact that compared to your maize and, the input costs are lower. And that's why we saw a lot of people move into the soybean space. So we are actually expecting
a record, and that is mainly in yields as well as area planted, right? I mean, the soybean crop is expected to be a record this year, whereas maize is not necessarily an increase in hectares, but we are expecting an increase in yield. And just to touch on soybeans, I mean, we are expecting a 19% increase year on year just this year. So all of this bodes very well for the industry. But just another thing, I mean, you were talking input cost. There's a new hurdle that has come into the space. We call it load shedding. It's not new, but this year it's really been massive hindrance. The maize in South Africa, about 20% of our maize area is planted under irrigation. So when we have load shedding and we have heat waves and stuff like that, you cannot irrigate your lands properly. That might affect the yields, and when we're thinking our soybeans, that's about 15% of that is under irrigation. So load shedding might put a spanner in the works on this amazing favorable estimates that we have. It's something we need to really look into and keep an eye on, and hopefully stakeholders can have an impact on those discussions.
And like you said, Conce, this is the first estimate. We do expect them to be revised going forward. But what's good actually is that currently things are looking good. And also coming into the livestock sector, still on soybeans. You know, they rely a lot on soybeans, so it's actually good that they will actually get those volumes, you know, coming in, and with the prices being so strong, hopefully the volumes can actually balance it out, and you know, they can manage on that side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're even exporting soybeans now. Did you know that?
Yay.
Yeah. So that is basically it in terms of the summer grains oilseed production and area, and our first estimates for 2022-2023 season, and we will keep you guys posted. And just touching on your food security, guys, favorable at the moment.
Yeah. And so what does it mean for consumers, all of this? For now, we're okay.
We are okay.
Yeah.
It should help to subdue some of the prices if we have a bumper crop.
Yeah. If it was the opposite, then we would be talking something else. We would be crying, because then those CPI numbers would actually look like crazy going forward.
Yeah, and that's it for today. Another episode with the agri duo Karabo and Conce. Food for Thought with Karabo and Conce is the channel. Stay tuned, stay informed, be part of this informative sessions. We love to see you here. We love your engagement. We love you following us. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.